Oh my god, this is my favorite fucking Batmobile right here, boys! Oh, I was in the middle of doing another video. Matt Reeves, director of The Batman, went ahead right now and just gave us our first look at the Batmobile, and it is a hunky-dory sweet piece of metal. I'm going to be breaking down these images right here below and all the details surrounding the Batmobile, but you guys need to leave a like down below because this is one gorgeous Batmobile, bruh. Or comment down below if you don't like this or where this Batmobile ranks in your listing of all the other ones, because yo, this was my favorite, but it's starting to top it out. Alright, just looking at this thing firsthand and staring at it, this is definitely looking like the muscle car description that we were given. I did a video on it a while back where we were given some leaked information that the new Batmobile would be more of a muscle car. And looking at this image right here, yeah, this is a muscle car if I've ever seen one. But also looking right at it, this feels like the least Batmobile looking car that we've gotten. Like if this car showed up at one of those car shows where everyone just parks their cars out on front. You got your lowriders, you got your DeLoreans out there. If this car was in the lot, I'd think, wow, that's a sweet looking car, but I wouldn't really associate it with Batman. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some individuals out there who are just not loving the look of this Batmobile for that specific reason, but this to me is perfect because we were already told we were not going to get this tank-like Batmobile from the previous Batman movies, more specifically the Christopher Nolan movies where we were given literally a tank. And the Batman movies before that had a very stylized Batmobile. The one I always hearken to is the 1988 Batmobile and just how amazing that one looks. This design seems to be going more for the stealth look and to get around Gotham through slick areas. I don't mind that it's smaller, but we also got to take in part how the Batsuit is looking right here, bro, because this photo right here is set to be movie quality, meaning they have it all digitally enhanced, they got special effects put on it, so anyone who was worried about the Batsuit looking odd, Robert Pattinson right there standing next to the Batmobile, dude is looking mighty fresh. Also, he's wearing a cape. From all the other photos that we've gotten so far of this Batman, he has not been wearing his signature cape. Looking at some back-end shots of this Batmobile, again, very sleek. I'm loving the lights. Also, very interesting choice to have your engine being exposed in the back, but for all we know, that could be used for gadgets. As we look at the Batsuit, this seems to be a very gadget-heavy Batman, and that exposed engine could just be something to throw off bad guys and could have a bunch of compartments for gadgets to be popping out of for the Batman. Also, it should definitely be mentioned that the creator of this Batmobile was designed by Ash Thrope. You can follow him on Instagram. He has a lot of unique style car designs that he does, and he's definitely pulling it off on this one. When we look more directly into the back and we zoom in, there are some things to notice here. For one, this Batman has a dash cam. Okay, that's needed, okay? All cars need a dash cam. Even Batman's got a parallel park sometimes. But just zooming in and knowing that there's buttons lit up in this Batmobile really get me wondering to what are some of the compartments that this Batmobile is capable of. For all we know, that screen right there could also be a communication device that Batman uses to talk to Alfred back in the Batcave. I'm loving that. But also, one of the biggest takeaways I can imagine from this car is that it is a handmade car. This was built by Batman himself. Now, we could look at the 1989 Batmobile or some of the other previous Batman cars, and it's hard to imagine that Batman took an old car and then just fixed it up to meet his standards. I mean, in the Dark Knight series, it was just said that he took that from Wayne Enterprises when it was a military project and painted it black. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a scene in the Batman where he takes an old car, maybe this was his father's favorite old car, and then tricks it out so it can be high-tech, exactly what the Batman needs when he's going out in Gotham City. There's something special about Robert Pattinson's Batman being this guy who builds everything with his own two hands, and it kind of looks homemade. It just gives it that more realistic feel to me, because I think a lot of us are just spoiled with the fact of just how amazing some of these designs have been or how it looks in the comics, that we forget if this really was a billionaire and he was having to make this thing on his own without drawing the attention of other people, it would make sense that everything doesn't look 100% high-tech quality, but this really comes close to it. Because if you pair this up with the Batman bike, it fits that aesthetic, and we've gotten photos of Robert Pattinson on an old bike that I'm betting you he's turning that bike into the Batcycle that we've seen in set photos, and I'm telling you, it has to be connected to his dad somehow. Just everything that they're doing, just like those theories about the bat symbol being the gun that killed his parents, if this car meant something special to his dad, or who knows if this car was being saved for Bruce Wayne's 16th birthday, and then once Batman gets a hold of it, he tricks it out. I can just already imagine the bird view shots of this car, because from above, I get a very Batman looking vibe from it, and zooming in further to the hood, it just looks like this is some sort of high-tech, gadget-based Batmobile. I do hope it's bulletproof, because a car a little less tricked out doesn't seem to have all that many compartments, but I really reckon this to the Batman 1966 Batmobile. I just wish it did have some of those red outlining highlights on it. I would have liked that, but from the back and front, I can really see where that inspiration is coming from. There's a passenger seat. There's enough room in there for a Robin, I'm just saying. But since I literally started making this video as soon as Matt Reeves dropped these pictures, because I was in the middle of filming something else, I didn't even get a chance to see the fan reactions out there. I know I love it, so I asked you guys on Twitter to let me know your opinion. This is some of the reactions from Batman fans out there. We have Johnny MP saying, badass with heart emoji eyes. Heck yeah, man, I really do think this is badass. We have the Walking Game Freak say, I prefer the more tank-looking Batmobile. And you know what? I don't blame you for that. I think it does seem more practical that a Batman would have a sort of tank-like car, but to me, I fall on the side of I just like Batman looking badass, looking cool, and this screams to me cool, okay? As practical as the Tankmobile was, I just did not find it cool, okay? Every Batman vehicle, I always wanted to be like, I want to own that thing, I want to drive that thing, and this right here screams to me, I want to freaking drive that thing. We have another person here, 53XPO says, not the biggest fan of it. I mean, it looks cool, but it doesn't scream Batmobile. I really need to see it in action though. Again, I completely understand why people are saying that, because if you look at this, like I said, it doesn't really scream a Batman car. There isn't even a bat on it. Not that there needs to be. I think once we see it in action and some of the hidden gadgets within this, and Batman actually behind the wheel of it, I think we're going to be very happy with this Batmobile. Jacob Weaver says, I like Nolan's Tumblr a lot, but man, if this isn't badass. A great mix of old and new, and it's still very refreshing. Finally, some more positive thoughts. I was starting to get worried reading all some of these negative thoughts. But yeah, I agree. It's old and new because you can tell this is built out of some old muscle car out there. Maybe a Dodge Charger like your boy has. But at the same time, with all the modern implants put onto this car, it feels new. It feels slick. And that all goes to Ashthorpe, the designer. We have Aaron Wagner say, definitely a modern version of the Adam West Batmobile. As much as I like the Nolan and Snyder version of the Batmobile, it's great to see a smaller version of the vehicle. Oh, there we go. I knew I was missing a famous Batmobile. Of course, the Snyder Batmobile. I'm so excited with this when I forgot the Snyder one existed. That one was a really great design. I loved the Snyder Batmobile. I thought it was a really great mixture of a tank mixed with a modern car, but this really does scream just a car, and I really think it does need to be smaller for when Batman is going out catching bad guys. As much as I love the 1989 Batmobile, you can't really see that thing turning a corner really sharply. Our Tristan says, I like it. Looks like the 60s style with an animated mix into it. The animated vehicle, I think, really reminded me of the 1989 Batmobile. I don't really get those vibes off this one, but it does have an old-timey feel like we've been saying here. Alan Everall just says, different but nice. Okay, glad to know there's another good one. Mike says, I love the way the Batmobile looks, so sleek and really seems like it will fit his detective side in this film. And you know, come to think about it, since this is supposed to be a detective-based Batman movie, I can see some badass detective driving this thing, going around, stopping at places, interviewing people, then jumping back in. One thing that's just come into my mind is how he's going to open the doors for this Batmobile, because every Batmobile that we've had so far kind of opens from the hood up or has like an opening door like the DeLorean. If Batman is opening this like a regular car door and then just sitting in, okay, that doesn't look as cool. So hopefully these doors have like sort of a butterfly effect, or they open from the top. I want to see Batman just jump into it. Polo Ralph says, love it, but wouldn't it be too easy to stop with that exposed engine? Yeah, I thought of that too, but we know Batman is all about deception and tricking his villains, just like the common thing in the comics that he has a bat symbol on his chest to work as a psychological psychological target for his villains. They purposely shoot at that spot. So having the exposed engine could be another one of those trickery things that Batman does. Or I wouldn't be surprised if it's a fake engine. At one point, Batman can push a button and that whole engine drops on the person behind him. But that is just right now the Batmobile. I am loving this thing, and if they're releasing it, that means we are going to be seeing this thing on the streets. More set photos are coming. I am really looking forward to this Batman movie. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Where do you fall on? But as always, I'm Batman. Take care, Gotham citizens.